Alright, a bunch of cunts. How's it diddling? There's my AdSense money out the window. Not that I've ever had ads on one, do I? I don't know. I've never said not. But anyway, yeah. I've run out of way to start my videos, and that one was just the one that popped into my head. So apologies if you were offended in any way. I only meant it for a few of you, but yeah, pickups video. This is a mixture of people outside. No, it's not a mixture of people outside. It's a mixture of, well, pretty much everything. Stuff I've bought myself, Christmas stuff. I've not seen many of those videos. People say, "Oh, this is what I got for Christmas." Because maybe we're all a bit too old and a bit too cynical for that. Maybe this isn't the right sort of global climate for people to be showing what they got for Christmas. But I'm gonna fight to maintain the old traditions. Yeah. Where to start? I don't know. I'm already lost. Right, screw it. Jump straight in. Christmas present. This was a Christmas present. I'm sure I had more of a sort of an intro sort of spiel to just sort of set the tone, set the place. Instead, I just resorted to insulting everyone. But I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Christmas present from the old girl. She got me this. It's a U-wing, one of the mini ones. And it goes like this. It goes like that. You can open up its flaps, and you can also do this. This is weird. These they fly really far. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'll probably lose them, so I won't do it. But you fire the little red bits to the front. But yeah, my mum bought me that, and it's actually got me a. I've now got a taste for buying Lego, so I'm tempted. Ever since I built this, I've been tempted to go out and buy my own. But yeah, this is from Rogue One. So yeah, and this isn't actually for me. This, but I thought it was a bit of a bargain. Bought it in a charity shop. This is actually, I bought it really, honestly, with the express intention of giving it to my niece because she's into this sort of thing. She likes Lego. She's more Lego. But I knew it was a bit of a bargain, and it's basically a big old bag, of Minecraft Lego. It's got see that. There you go. There's the legs of a skeleton there, and there's all manner of shit. It's not complete. Apparently, it was a set 21114, 21114. Yeah, which is a farm. And it's cost me £4, and it's sort of incomplete. There you go. Look, there's one of the characters there. Yeah, it's I thought you should like that, wouldn't you? And it's not complete, but so I'm gonna do my best. I've downloaded the instructions, so I'm gonna do my best to cobble it together as best as I can. But we're probably missing shitloads of bits, like all the little tiny little fiddly bits. But you know. I'll do my best. Maybe I might be able to sort of buy them on eBay or somewhere, just to make up the set. But that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And if she doesn't like it, I'll keep it for myself. Put that there. Right. On to the proper stuff, because Lego doesn't really count. And this was actually a Christmas present from my sister. For the first time ever, I sent her a list. I always feel a bit of a mean bastard doing that. Sort of telling people what I want for Christmas, but I thought it would save her the hassle. I get the impression she struggles because to know what I'd like. But so I thought I'd go the mean route. I wish these people would stop hanging around outside getting on my tits. I thought I'd go the mean route. Send her a wish list from Amazon. And she got me album for the best band in the world, LCD Sound System. I'm going to watch this lot in May. I'm fucking really excited. Love this band. They're the best band in the world, or one of the best bands in the world. The best band in the world at the moment. And suffice to say, this is a cracking album. And the other best band in the world, although they're not really a band, no, they are a band actually. Not in their original guise, but I saw this lot last summer, so there's a bit of a theme here. It's a sort of a best of the Pixies. I forgot what this album's called. It's called Death to the Pixies, but it's a bit of a toss-up between the Pixies and LCD Sound System as to who are my favourite band, and particularly LCD Sound System. I love LCD Sound System to the point where it worries me how much I love them, because I don't love other things quite as much, like including my football team, my family, my pets. None of them quite match my love for LCD Sound System. But Pixies come very sort of a close, not even close second, probably matching. So these are sort of two of the best bands in the world. And they also, my love for them is quite sort of, it worries me slightly. But yeah, love the Pixies. Love the Pixies. Actually, that reminds me. No, I'll bring that up at the end. Right, films. A couple of these sort of incorporated into a little story I've got to tell. Not this one. This one was in Sherry Shop. It's Her. A good film for people interested in stories about AI. I love this film. It basically falls in love with his phone. It's basic, and then that's the basic gist. And it's really good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Right. Oh fuck. Right. Yeah, I was in a branch computer exchange, and I saw a couple of films that I really wanted. One was an upgrade from a Blu-ray to a Blu-ray, and it was this called Greenberg, one of my favourite films of recent years. I won't go into details because I'm sure I've mentioned this in the past. And the other one in the same branch was The Double. This is by Richard Ayoade. It's an adaptation of a story by, is it Dostoevsky? Something like that. Where is it? Sure it is. Where Jesse Eisenberg's character is called Simon James, I think. Simon James. Yeah, Simon James. He's sort of like a sort of bit of a nerdy character who's sort of quiet and unassuming, and he gets ignored by all of his sort of colleagues, and sort of trampled on by all his colleagues, taken advantage of, so to speak. And then into his life comes his absolute doppelganger, whose name is James Simon, I think, and he's the total opposite in every way other than how he looks. And he starts taking over his life, and it feels it's got a bit of a future dystopia setting. It feels a bit like Brazil, Terry Gilliam's film Brazil. It's got that sort of feel to it, and if that's your sort of bag, I'd give this a shot, because I enjoy this a lot. It's surreal, dark, and yeah. So yeah, I bought these two in a computer exchange, and I had them in my bag. And when I was that day, I'd been out, and I think there's still a little bit of the post-Christmas sort of sugar dependency still had hold. You know, when you eat so much shit at Christmas, and then you just for a while after you need to sort of continue eating sort of the same amount of shit. And I'd bought myself a packet of Haribos, I think, like Tangfastics or something, and I'd eaten them, a few of them. I'd opened them. I went into a Poundland, and I'm generally quite a paranoid person. No, not really, but every sort of certain things sort of I don't know. They make me wonder, so to speak. And I was in this Poundland, looking at their Blu-rays, and they had some quite good ones if I remember, but I chose not to buy. And just as I was about to leave, I got a sense that there was one of the shop workers was sort of lurking. He was a security guard, was lurking just close by me. So didn't think much of it. Started to walk out of the shop, then I heard, "Excuse me." "Excuse me," and I turned around. He was talking to me. He goes, "Can I have a look in your bag, please?" And he thought I'd been nicking stuff. He didn't have any proof, and for some reason I'd given him the sense that I'd been nicking stuff. But I immediately thought, shit, what have I got in my bag? He's probably going to find stuff in my bag and think that I've been nicking stuff. I thought, hang on, the Blu-rays are alright because they've got price labels on and now I've got a receipt. But then I thought to the bag of Tangfastics. And I thought to myself, shit, I haven't got a receipt. What happens if he thinks that I've taken them off the shelf and opened them up and started chomping them without paying for them? And I was about to walk out of the shop. Because I bought them. When I bought them, I mean, I didn't wait for my receipt, because who waits for a receipt for a packet of Tangfastics? No one. Weird people. So I didn't. And lo and behold, I should have done. Because it would save my bacon. So I was shitting my pants. But then I took these out, and he goes, can I have a look in your bag? So I took these out, and I went, look, they got the receipts. They got the labels on them, and I've got the receipts if you really want to see. So he went, oh, okay. He asked me where I got them from. So I got them from Computer Exchange in Palms Green, if you must know, man. And then I was thinking, oh shit, that bag of Tangfastics. So I took them out, and he goes, where'd you get these from? And I got them from Morrison's, also in Palms Green. I went, really? Yeah. And I'd opened them. I said, look, I've opened them. If I'd nicked them, I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have had time to open them up and eat some, would I? And he went, yeah, okay. And he let me go. And I said, before I left, I said to him, what did I say to him? I said to him, why did you pick on me? Why did you pick me? Did I look shifty? No, I'm just doing my job, which was no explanation whatsoever. Just doing his job. He must have picked me out for some reason. Just randomly picking people in the shop who don't buy stuff. So here's a tip, kids. Always buy something when you go into a Poundland in case they accuse you of nicking stuff. And I've always thought when I go into shops that security guards are sort of like looking at me suspiciously. Maybe it's just my manner. Maybe I've got a naturally shifty manner. I don't know. But so ever since then, I've been properly shifty because it's made me even more paranoid. So I'm probably from now on, thanks to that one dude, I'm going to get like picked on even more for potentially having nicked stuff. And I'm not a nicker. I'm not a what's the technical term? I can't think. But anyway, I don't nick stuff, put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, two Blu-rays that nearly got me in trouble. And I can't show you the packet of Tangfastics because not long afterwards I finished them off to hide the evidence. Right, last Blu-ray, this was basically a Christmas present to myself. I'd put it on the list that I'd given to my sister, but she ignored it and went with a CD and some whiskey. So I don't know what that suggests. She I don't know. She's trying to turn me on to alcohol, maybe, but it's a nice whiskey actually. But yeah, this was one I really wanted, and I'd looked at the prices on Amazon, and they were fucking expensive. They were like, I think that's sort of 40 quid on Amazon, which is way over the top. And oh shit, excuse me. At the time, that was pricey. So something I particularly wanted, and I was randomly searching on eBay once a couple of weeks ago or last week, and it popped up being sold by Music Magpie. Bearing in mind, I think in Computer Exchange they're about 35 quid or something. This brand new from Music Magpie was £24.05, which I thought that's a bargain, and it's a bit of a quality production by all accounts. I'll get it out anyway. It's basically Lone Wolf and Cub box set, 6 films, Blu-ray, Criterion remastered. Criterion, that's the seal of quality. That's sort of what sold it to me. But I think it's based on a manga. I think it was a manga originally. I think those drawings there are a manga, but I love that cover. It's basically the manga and sort of like Hokusai, you know, the Japanese artist Hokusai made the wave. It's just a stunning thing. But that's basically what Criterion is all about. It's sort of quality productions and quality remasters and things like that. But it's about a wandering samurai yakuza, and he pushes his kid in the cart, and the cart's got like hidden weapons in it and stuff like that. And there's all these people out to get him. I can't remember the storyline because I've only ever seen Shogun Assassin, which is this film they talk about in Kill Bill. I'm sure it's Shogun Assassin. At some point, I think they watch it in Kill Bill as well. But I think Shogun Assassin is a sort of a cobbled together film out of these six here. I think someone might be able to explain to me. I think there's a few people who know this, but I think Shogun Assassin, which I loved, I really enjoyed it. I used to have it actually. I used to have the Blu-ray. When I actually ended up seeing it, it was on telly. But I used to have a DVD. But I bought it, thought really excited to watch it, and didn't realise that it didn't have subtitles. It was just basically a really cheesy dub. And at the time, I was a bit of a snob. I didn't realise that sort of added a certain element to it, but it wasn't an element at the time I wanted. It was a bit too comedic because I took myself very seriously at the time. But yeah, so I sent it back without watching it. I'm not watching this with a dub, so I didn't watch it because I only wanted subtitles. But yeah, this apparently is the 6 core films that Shogun Assassin was created out of. I think I might be way off. I'm hoping someone can explain to me. But this, all in all, this is a quality production, and it comes on 3 discs, and it's unlike most Criterion stuff. It's got like a big fat booklet that tells you all about stuff, and generally I'm really chuffed. These are £24.05. That's such good value. And this is my first Criterion thing. I would love. I subscribe to the Criterion YouTube channel, and they don't do much. Generally, they just have all these little short, sort of 3-minute videos of famous filmmakers going through their broom cupboard, basically doing like taking sort of loads of free Blu-rays off the shelves, and it generally makes me really jealous. But you know, yeah, Lone Wolf and Cub box set, really chuffed for that. Not watched them yet. Like I said, I've only ever watched Shogun Assassin. Right, on to the games. Actually, what should I do first? Charity shop. Not a bad little charity shop score. I was going to tweet a picture, but I couldn't be asked. I couldn't be asked to take any photos. But yeah, I did all right in a charity shop. I've not in Watford. What was it? It was RSPCA in Watford. Excuse me. Not seen anything Watford in donkey's years. It's a big place, and you think every now and again you'd find something. But in this, no, Watford for some reason it must be full of collectors, because I never find anything. But on this occasion, it was different. I went into RSPCA, and they had a tub of just stuff on the ground, and it was game controllers, and they had a whole selection. And having sort of looked into it, I should have bought more than I did. They were £3.50 each, and they had things like DualShock 2s. They had Wiimotes. They had the original classic controller, Wii classic controller, the one with the cord at the front in the weird place. They had PS1 original DualShocks, but what I came away with was a DualShock 3. I had another DualShock 3. I should have got both of them, but £3.50 it all adds up. This is the best one. It's nice and clean. I haven't washed it yet. I probably should. But I wanted another one because I only had one from PS3, and my one rattles. But yeah, there was that, and probably the ones I'm most chuffed with. 2 Wii Motion Pluses. There you go, two of the bastards. Because I wanted one of these. I've been looking at getting one of those attachments for my normal Wiimotes, but they're dirt cheap. But then it makes them like a whacking great, like really huge Wiimote eventually with the extra bit on the end. But I didn't know where to get the sleeves from. You know, the sleeves that go over the top. I don't know whether they come with it, and I would have been left with it sort of just attached on the end without the rubber sleeve over the top. So then, you know, I didn't really go with that. But then luckily I saw these in a charity shop for £3.50, and I was looking bargain. And I took them all to the counter, and the girl was going to charge me for 2. I thought, hang on, shouldn't that be £10.50? And she recalculated it, and she went, oh yeah. But I should have kept quiet. I should have kept stum. But you know, I didn't want to sort of dick them over their charity, you know. But yeah, so that was £10.50 for these. And turns out I should have got the DualShock 2s as well and the other Wiimotes, but like a knob, I left it, and they could have gone to CEX for a bit of credit because, as you know, I'm all about accruing CEX credit. But yeah, right, proper games now. Proper games. Just to affirm my nerd credentials, this first one using CEX credit is about as nerdy as you can get. Space Hulk. When I had my Amstrad, I used to have a demo of Space Crusade. So sort of tabletop dice, usually sort of tactical RPG type thing, using dice rolls. Really good, loved it. Never completed it because I always get to the end, but I could never beat the boss. It was a dreadnought. You know, I always used to sort of end up dying. But yeah, I've heard this looks to me like a lot like the same thing, but I've heard it's really glitchy and sort of slightly incomplete, and I think the PC release, which is probably more its natural home, was released needing patches, and I've got a feeling this might need patches as well. But you know, it was only a £5, and I'm willing to. Hopefully, they're not game breakers. But yeah, this was something I was because of my past experience with Space Crusade. This is something I've always been interested in when I saw the release. But also a bit of a what's the word? Guilty pleasure of mine when it comes to YouTube is watching Warhammer 40,000 battle reports. I've just really gotten into it. I have no idea what's going on. I just like sort of watching two people control their armies and sort of going backwards and forwards and sort of reeling off this massive list of stats and stat multipliers and rules. It just bamboozles me. I'd try to learn how to. I wouldn't mind learning how to play, but I think probably at my age I'm probably a bit. I'm a bit late to the party, but I just, for some reason, there's something I really enjoy about watching these battle reports, and so, if I can't play that, then the best thing I can do is have a go at this myself. But not that I generally watch 40,000 rather than Space Hulk. I'm not sure I've ever seen any Space Hulk battle reports, but yeah. Yeah, I'd very nearly bought this going back, a good few months now, probably about 6 months. I went into it as a local computer exchange in Wood Green, and it was said £8 on the price label. I took it to the counter, and the guy goes, it's £10. And I went, £10? It says £8. And he goes, fucking cards, fuck off. No, he didn't say that. And he goes, no, actually, it's gone up. I went, hang on, shouldn't you charge me? I didn't say it to him because I don't kick up a fuss. I was thinking, shouldn't you charge me the price on the label? But he didn't, and I wasn't going to argue, so I left it. I thought, stick it, mister. I'm going to leave it. I'm not buying from you. But then a few months down the line, the price has gone down. It's gone down to £5. So maybe he should have taken my £8, but he didn't. But anyway, yeah. Right. I'll leave. Where should I do that? Yeah. Right. Since Christmas, I've got Christmas money. Generally, that's what I get every year because I think I've mentioned in the past I'm a bit of a bitch to buy presents for because, picky when it comes to games. I like my stuff. I'm the only person I know who knows anything about this stuff. And so I wouldn't want to give anybody I know the pressure of buying me something that, it makes me sound like a proper picky bastard, doesn't it? So I think generally, it's sort of the conclusion everyone comes to who knows me is that sort of I get money from my nan and my dad and my mum generally, or as well as a few other presents, and I can buy my own presents. It's just easier that way, and I don't mind. So I buy my own presents, and this is one that I've been looking out for my 3DS, and I saw some on eBay at a really good price, about a good sort of, well, I don't know, less than half of what they go for at Computer Exchange. I thought, oh, bargain. But no, actually, no, I saw them at a certain price. They were through Argos's eBay page, certain price. I'm thinking, oh, I might buy one of those. I can't make my mind up. But then I saw them. I'd sort of taken my eye off them. I saw them again, and the price had come right down. I'm thinking, brilliant, I'll get them. But then they'd already sold out. So I'm thinking, oh, I missed out. So I left it, but I didn't take them off my watch list. And then I was just about to, and I realised that they'd all come back in stock. So I bought one. Brilliant, I got one, and it was all confirmed. And it turned up, and I tweeted about it. But then it turned out that the restock that I thought had happened was literally only one game, and it turned out to be the only one that they had, and it was the one that I ended up getting. So I tweeted to say that they had them in stock, but it turns out they didn't because I had the last one. So, and the game is Fire Emblem Echoes. As you can see, it's still sealed, and yeah, for $12.99, I was thinking bargain. Because, you know, I think they sell them for 25 quid in Computer Exchange. But I was looking at the special edition one, because that's not too expensive. But the only thing I really wanted out of that were the amiibos, because they give you extra content. So I could probably get, if I that really matters to me, I'd probably get them separately from somewhere else. But, you know, I'd get them loose. But, yeah. So in the end, paying $12.99 just for the basic game was worth it. But yeah, brilliant. Right. I'll always say, as for people who are into buying games from charity shops, some of the best times to do it is I've got crap on. Best times to do it is in the lead up to Christmas, in and around Christmas, before and after. Lead up to Christmas and sort of a few weeks afterwards, because it makes sense that at Christmas people buy a load of shit and have to make room for it and ship a load of stuff out just to make space. So, you know, that's probably one of the most busy times for charity shops. People who work there, they probably know. Anyone who's worked in a charity shop probably knows that a lot of stuff comes in. And it makes sense that it applies to literally everything that charity shops stock, including video games. So last Christmas I did well as well, and in this instance I've done pretty well. As well as these, of course, you know, I forgot to mention those. But in this instance, it's a bit more, you know, like my sort of thing, so to speak. These first two, I tweeted pictures of these before Christmas because I saw that. Just bought them, and you know, I wasn't in a position to actually put them in a video. But PS1 games, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, yeah, which is actually, I think, I don't know, it was all in really nice nick. I don't think I had to replace the case. No. This was, where was this? This was £3 in, I can't remember where it was, but it was £3 in a charity shop, and one I didn't have, and one that I wanted to get. It wasn't actually on my list, but you know, it was one I was aware of. But it's becoming so rare now to see PS1s in charity shops full stop, let alone games that I actually want to have in my collection. And I've seen a couple here. So this one was the first one, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. Even better with this one, this was on my list, and it was actually on my eBay watch list as well. So I'd never actually seen one that was sort of you know, within my price range, because I'm tight. But City of the Lost Children. Fucking hell! I can hear my phone. Balls. I don't sit with my phone right next to me. I'm probably like the only person who doesn't do that. I check my phone like sort of once every few hours or something, but oh well. Whoever it is, we'll have to wait. But yeah, this one was the one I was keen to get. It's sort of an adventure game, not really action adventure. It's just an adventure game based on the film. It's a film by a guy called Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who's he made Alien Resurrection, and he's done things like Amelie, yeah, and you know that is Yeah, Alamany's probably his most famous film, I think. Yeah, it was the same. Yeah, but one I always wanted to get. It's supposed to be technically it looks a bit shonky, but you know, it's one I wanted to get, and so two charity shop purchases in sort of close succession. You know, before Christmas that are going to go straight into the collection. It was just it's not something you see every year, and so it's sort of you see how Christmas is one of the better times. But when they had this, they also had this, as one I also tweeted about, is this bargain? Yes, not quite, because it didn't have it had everything bar the game disc. It had the manual, no game disc. So I initially rejected it. Because of that, but thought about it. Rejected it. Thought about it and thought, no, it's actually worth having. I think they were £1 each, or maybe £2, but either way, it was worth having. And I could have keep an eye out for a loose disc, or just basically sell it on, or you know, do whatever with it. See if it's you know, like an upgrade at all. Any of the bits are upgrades. But so I went back and asked them the next day. I just went back the next day and asked them, and because I couldn't see it on the shelf, and he'd actually put it under the counter, and he just sold it to me without the disc, and for the same price. But you know, I'm not complaining. But yeah, so this is just a spare, and it will be. Maybe I should just get a proper mic stand rather than just going to do it again. I can see it, rather than a bent coat hanger. It's actually a really nice nick. The only thing that's wrong with it is a couple of just about see him. A couple of scratches on the front of the case. Yeah. Just looking at the quality, the light's going, and this is when the image quality of my videos starts to dip. But it just was something I wanted to talk about. Actually, I just these last few videos I've made, particularly the pickups videos, I'm sure that the quality of my camera is degrading. It's just the there you go. It's just the webcam on my Mac, and you know, it looks better before it gets uploaded. Once it's uploaded, the quality degrades quite significantly, and it's just a bit like a bit annoying. So I went through the process of trying to work out a better way to do it, because I've got a sort of shitty digital camera that I use to take eBay photos, sort of behind on the shelf over there, and I was going to use that. That's sort of not much better. I've got my GoPro, which image-wise is the best, but it's got a wide angle, which is a bit annoying, and has no viewfinder, so it's basically pot luck. I even tried to work out if that was still usable, and it turns out it is, because I've got this Thunderbolt to Firewire adapter for my Mac, which means I can actually hook that up and use it. And I sort of tested it, and it works. It works with tapes. It uses tapes. I bought that in 2001 or 2002. I can't remember. But I came to some money, and it was fucking expensive. But anyway, the only weird thing about it is that that's what I used to make my videos with. The only weird thing about it is that for whatever reason it won't record directly onto the hard drive of the Mac. It will only record if there's a tape in the tape deck recording that. So you have to record onto the tape, and then you can transfer that onto the computer. So it's a bit of an arse. So, you know. But generally, I'm probably going to end up sticking with this sort of a grainy, just, don't know, annoying webcam in the computer. So just, you know, I just have to suck it up, won't I? Piece of shit. So, right, on we go. Itchy nose, apologies. eBay purchase. Oh, fucking hell. That's why when you get old, you get hairy nose, and it makes your nose itch. Not only do you get grey in your beard, and grey on your temples, And bushy eyebrows. Bushy eyebrows. No one tells you about bushy eyebrows, but you also get hairy nose and wrinkles and other things that I'm not going to go into. But or is it just me? Right. Right. eBay purchase, an upgrade. I had basically a complete version of this game, but it was sun faded. Bits of it were sun faded, and there's nothing properly sadder than a really sun faded game. I've got a couple of Mega Drive games, and I could look past those. But for some reason, this was a PS1 game, and you rarely get sun faded PS1 games, but this one was, and it just looked really pathetic and a bit like limp. And like, whoa. So I thought, no, it's got to be upgraded, and it wasn't. I didn't officially count it as part of my collection until it was properly upgraded. But I saw a good copy on eBay, a good cheap one, and I could trade it. I could trade in sort of like what was left into Computer Exchange, get a load of credit back, and it turns out that I've essentially just paid about £5 in total for my copy, and I think I got the original one in a charity shop anyway for about £1. So all in all, I suppose theoretically you could say this cost me about £5 or £6, but probably not, taking into consideration inflation. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, good game. Devil Dice. The one that I bought from eBay had a bit of a knackered case, but I already had a good case. But it had this really annoying sun fading along there, and I had a sun faded emblem there, and it was sun faded along there. It was really weird. And then on the inside, along the top of the manual was like in exactly the same spot, and the disc as well. It's really odd. It must have had sort of proper direct sunlight beaming right down onto the top. It's really bizarre, but it used to really get my tits. So, yeah, now it's all nice and dandy. So this one is allowed a place in my collection. I suppose you could call that game collecting eugenics, or something along those lines. I'm a game Nazi. No, I'm not. Devil Dice. So I traded that one in to my old one with the sun fading. It's now in CX. No one's bought it yet. I wonder why. Maybe it is. Maybe other people care about sun fading. But right, 2 purchases with credit. This one, a nice little game. A bit of a. I ain't gonna say hidden gem, but I just did. Sleeper hits. I like to say sleeper hits. Dirt cheap, but I can never quite see it on eBay for as you know, like for a good price. But yeah, Wild 9 by Shiny Entertainment, who made Earthworm Jim and all that jazz, and meant to be really good. And this was one I wanted to add in the collection because it does look like a good game. It's sort of like an action platformer run and gunner, but it's not really a run and gunner because you don't really have guns. You have this weird like sort of gravity hook thing, a bit like Bionic Commando, but with a sort of a shiny, sort of entertainment, humorous spin on it. So yeah, I got this in it was boxed, classified as boxed in Computer Exchange, and it was £3. £3. So you know, it made sense, and I just changed out the case because I had a couple of spares, and it's now up to scratch because the case was a bit knacked. But yeah, I also looked at a copy of, this is a weird one, I also looked at a copy of Riven, because that's one I want. It's point and click game. It's the sequel to Myst. Generally, you can understand how their prices work, you know, like Mint is like a collector's premium. But for Riven, it's weird. A boxed version they sell for £3, but a mint one they'll sell for 25. What the fuck is that about? But you know, why the discrepancy? You know, boxed might just be like a really nice nick one, just with a little crack on the front of the case, and just for the sake of a little crack on the front of the case, they're dropping the price by £18. It makes no sense, but anyway. This one doesn't have the same. I think the mint one's probably about £5, so you know. Actually, it annoys me. I had some credit. I shipped in some stuff. I had about £125 credit. I did that. I think it was before Christmas or just after Christmas. Actually, that's where Devil Dice went to. But I've noticed CEX have changed their shipping policy. If you buying online, they now charge £1.50 postage for every item under 50 quid. There's no longer the flat 250 across 250 charge across all purchases. It's that that spreads out across purchases. Literally 150 on top of every individual purchase, which fucking builds up, and it puts me off and means I'm only really inclined to spend on the higher priced items, because then you don't have to pay the postage for anything above 50 quid, and it's just a ball ache. Less likely to take a punt. But just a heads up, I went into a branch relatively locally to me in Boreham Wood to look at a game they had as mint. Called Armored Core for the PS1. I was going to use some of my credit for that. Lo and behold, it's not mint. I don't know why. It just must have slipped through the net somehow. A bit of human error, understandable. I mean, who doesn't make mistakes? But let's say if you're going to order a copy of Armored Core from Computer Exchange online, don't do it because it ain't mint. I mean, go and have a look at one of the box ones, but the one they've got in Boreham Wood, the mint one, ain't mint because it's sun faded on the front. Again, how does that happen? And it's got a whacking great crack. So it's just a bit of human error, I'm guessing. But suffice to say, I didn't go with that one. What I did go with, in a London branch, I travelled a bit of a way to go to it, and one pretty high up on the list, Castlevania Chronicles. This was classified as box, 60 quid. The box was a bit knacked, but paperwork is okay, and that's paperwork is probably the most important thing, apart from the disc, because I mean, I looked at the disc. I asked him if I could look at the game before I bought it, and the disc was pretty scratched. But I asked if he would put it through his resurfacer, and did. So then I've got a better nick copy of this game. And I changed that case because I already had a spare. So now I've got a decent nick copy of this game. And the case is the disc, is still pretty scratched. But if I can keep an eye out for a spare, or I can even just upgrade it some way down the line. But and trade this in. So yeah, makes sense to go and check it out in store. And it turns out this one was worthwhile. So all in all, that's not bad, because the prices for this was okay, 60 quid about, and I'm only paying credit. But it's just something that I've realised that I think everyone's well aware how much their prices vary, how wild they are. And I was looking at a copy of, I had this £125 credit. I didn't know how to spend it. In the end, sort of some of it went to that and Space Hulk, but I've still got a bit left. But I was thinking, should I spend it all in one go? They had a supposedly mint copy of Mega Man X5, and should I spend it on a sort of a big hitter, or should I sort of buy something mid-range? I couldn't really, I didn't really know how to spend it, because a lot of their games, things like the Mega Man X games, are really high. The mint versions are really high. It's probably only worth it because you are paying the premium. It's a big premium, understandably, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe too much. Maybe they'd sell them more if the premium wasn't so high. But I couldn't make my mind up, and I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, yeah, I didn't get Mega Man X5 and ended up going with that. Fucking what disaster. What the fuck was my point? Yeah, I couldn't make my mind up. That was it. Yeah. Because their premiums are so high for mint, that's my point. If you have a copy of any of their top-of-the-range PS1 games, and probably any other retro game, because the premiums are so high, if you're looking to sell them, at least inquire in CEX first. If they're like really good nick and there's a likelihood they're going to be classified as mint, go into CEX first, because particularly things like, for instance, the Mega Man games, Mega Man X4, if you've got a mint copy of that, they sell it for 180, which is high. It's probably about at least 50 quid too high, but not so bad if you're paying credit, you know, but either way. But because of that, because their premium is so high, it also means their exchange rates are really high, including their cash exchange rates. So, I can hear my phone again. Someone's keen. Including their cash exchange rates. So, if you're looking to sell on eBay, go and see how much cash they'll offer, because I reckon often they will offer you sort of almost close to the eBay value in cash, and it makes sense because it's a massive weight off your mind. You don't have to go through the ball ache of going into of using eBay, and you don't have to pay all their fees. You don't have to ship stuff off. You don't have to deal with other punters. You just have to deal with them. Just if you like, so it's just a tip. If you're looking to sell stuff on and you know your stuff's in good nick, at least inquire how much you would get for it on eBay, and you can look on their website if you really need to, or you can go in store. And quite often, because some of their prices are high, it does mean, conversely, on the flip side, does mean that you'll get good credit and maybe good cash. So, you know. Right, last thing, Christmas presents. This fucker, there you go. Doesn't really need any more explaining that, does it? No, back when people would go, oh shit, gotta get my hands on one. Back then when the pre-orders were announced, everyone was fucking shitting their pants. And then in that initial few days, yeah, I think I missed out on a pre-order. It was that very day. I missed out on a pre-order. Then Murray from Twitter, I can't remember was his YouTube name is Muzz and a few numbers, but he showed me that he gave me a link to the Nintendo store, and they had them for $69.99. So I pre-ordered it and it turned up. So yeah, this is basically a birthday present from my mum. I bought it and gave it to her, and she just gave it to me. You know, it's simple. You know. So yeah, and I got that. I've played it. I've packaged it up because I haven't quite got a place to put it yet. I want to find a proper place to put it. So I don't want it sitting about until I have a sort of a proper space on the shelf, or you know, like a space on the anywhere, you know, next to the telly. So I've packaged it up, but I've been playing it, and I just, anytime I want to use it, I just get it. I've played Earthbound, Contra 4. I've played Mario Kart. I've played, what else have I played? I've played a lot of them. I played Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Yeah, I would like to hack it, but I've got a Mac, and because I've got a Mac, it's a whole other ball ache if you want to hack it if you've got a Mac, because you have to download this thing called VirtualBox, and then a free copy of Windows 10 or something. It's just, oh fuck it. So I might just give it to someone who's got a PC and knows how to do it, and they can give it back to me, because I've got a nice list of games. I haven't downloaded them yet, but I've got the list of games ready for when I'm able to do it myself. But yeah, so I've got this. Needed a plug. You know, as everybody knows, was tempted to go with the official one, but that's at least a tenner. On Amazon, it's about 15 quid, and just for a plug, just especially when plugs are exactly the same thing, like no brand sort of Chinese knockoffs are about. They're about sort of 2 quid on Amazon. It's just, yeah. I didn't want them because, you know, don't know what the build quality was. I looked on Computer Exchange and you can get a Mac one for £1.50. So I went with that. And because, you know, Mac build quality, you know, it's just peace of mind. £1.50 on top, 3 quid for one of these. There you go. Like, 3 quid for one of these. So simple. Just a Mac one, an iPhone one. But I wasn't sure about, you know, all the technical stuff, because I'm not really that much very clued into that sort of thing. I'm a bit, you know, a bit naive, but I pretty much guessed it was right. And although when it turned up, it's got all the technical stuff in there, but it's so tiny. But I hear you say, how did you read that? Well, Christmas Day, with my Christmas cracker. Lo and behold, it doesn't often happen, but lo and behold, the thing I got on my Christmas cracker turned out to be useful. It's a tiny, tiny little magnifying glass, and I could read what it said, and it turned out that this would not blow anything up if I was going to plug it into my SNES Mini. So yeah, looks a bit weird. I would like it if it sort of was the same colour as the USB cable, but I have heard actually. I wonder if I could do you reckon I could plug this into my Mac? Because I have heard that you can power this through the USB cable. So I think there's a USB. I've never used it, but I've got a feeling there's a USB port on the telly behind me, or at least my other telly, my main telly. I don't know. So could this be powered through any USB port? I don't know. Maybe someone can enlighten me. But yeah, but I've enjoyed it anyway, so there you go. That's all my stuff. It's fucking 50 minutes. Alright. Thanks for watching. See you later. Cheers. Big ears.